The question I'm going to put before you this morning is, how can we accept and respect people who believe things that we don't agree with? You know what I'm talking about? I mean, we all deal with this. We all deal with this, right? We have neighbors, coworkers, sometimes even family members who hold beliefs and truths that we find outrageous, if not implausible. And funny. There are a few common responses to this predicament, right? Some of us are debaters. We like to debate with such people. We get some intrinsic satisfaction out of poking holes in their faith and their reasoning, all the while hoping deep down that we might shake them loose of what we see as their foolishness. Come on, you know who you are. I won't make you raise your hands, but you're debaters. Now, if you invite the Jehovah's Witnesses and the Mormons who knock on your door in so that you can try to shake their certainty, you know who you are. You are definitely a debater. Now, if you come to family reunions armed with the latest book that you've read on the inaccuracies of the Bible, then you are a debater. And if you actually respond to those unsolicited emails from your relatives and coworkers about religion, then you're a debater. Now, there's also another style. There are the avoiders. You know who you are. Some of us just prefer to change the subject. It's a lot easier. We make the decision not to discuss religion with people who don't agree with us. It's kind of a don't ask, don't tell policy for religion. We're the ones who don't even come to the door when the Jehovah's Witnesses start knocking. We hide, pretend like we're not home, turn the lights out, wait for them to leave. You know who you are. Or when religion comes up at the holiday table, we quickly change the subject to the NFL draft or to the latest celebrity scandal. And we don't even read those irksome emails that people send. We just put them right in our junk folder. But is there a better way? Because there are some problems with these two styles of relating to people who are different from us. Now, I have to admit, if I'm going to be honest, and that's my covenant to you from up here, is to be honest, that I've changed a lot in this regard. I used to be both a debater and an avoider, depending on the situation. There was a time in my life when I would try to get people to start questioning their faith. It was kind of like a sport for me. The way I related to people who claimed to have a strong faith was that I subjected them to what could be called intellectual waterboarding. Like interrogation, trying to get them to admit the flaws in their logic. I was so smug, and I liked it because it made me feel superior. However, I found that after a while, this is not really a good way to make friends. In fact, what I realized that I was doing was I was trying to proselytize them, right? Or, get them to believe like I believe or disbelieve like I disbelieved, as it were. It's kind of insane when you think about it, right? That the old expression says, choose your enemies carefully because you will become like them. And so in my abhorrence for proselytizing, I'd actually been proselytizing without realizing it. Proselytizing being telling somebody that what they believe is wrong and therefore I've got a better way. I know the true right way, so let me tell you my way. Try to convince them, to berate them for their faith. Everything I don't like. I realized that in reverse, I was doing the same thing. Now, my colleague Jennifer Owen O'Quill was raised like I was, and she describes her experience like this. She says, I was raised to believe that there's wisdom to be found in all the world's religions. However, this did nothing to teach me about faith, to ground me in a spiritual life, or to connect me to God. It was a good way to learn to be respectful to others And it placed in me, she says, an interest in and a compassion for people who think differently than I do. But at the same time, I was taught through the behavior of almost everyone in my life that disrespect of Christian ideas and condescending to Christian people and the Christian faith was appropriate, particularly if it was done behind the back of anyone willing to claim to hold Christian beliefs. I learned how to be religiously arrogant at an early age, she said. This was the way that I went about relating to my friends and classmates and neighbors, poking holes in their ideas and asserting the superiority of my own enlightened pluralism. I was arrogant with my beliefs and disrespectful to the faith of my family, who, by the way, were much more patient and understanding with me than I was with them. That's the end of her quote. Now, if we're not careful, you and I can become like this. We can raise children like this. We can affirm the wisdom that comes from all the different world's religions, and at the same time, we can fail to develop wisdom in ourselves. If we're not careful, we can become as arrogant and self-righteous as any other kind of fundamentalist, even while at the same time claiming to reject fundamentalism. Think about this. It's the story of the three blind men and the elephant. That's how I heard it. Three blind men approach an elephant. Each one touches a different part of this giant pachyderm, right? One touches the leg and says, no, it's like a stump. The other one touches its ear and says, an elephant's like a big leaf. And the other one who touches its side says, no, it's like a big rock, like a big wall. And these three blind men argue all day and into the night about what the nature of the elephant is. Each man confident that he knows what he knows, and he knows what he experienced. And no matter what anyone else says, he's going to stick with what he believes, and thus they fail to discover the larger truth. As we seek to discover God, ultimate truth, or what is real, we need to be wise enough to listen to people who have experiences that are different from our own. That's how we seek the truth in love, as we say in our covenant every week in this church. It's how we build meaningful relationships with people who have beliefs and practices that are different from ours. And it's how we can use our love to transform the world.